Good morning, everyone. Hope everyone is doing okay. Mike made me another pot of coffee, so good to go. Okay, oh my goodness. I want to thank Katina very much for sending me this. Now, it's interesting that this has gone under the radar and kept quiet for 2 years. And now this JW leader has been convicted, and now it's finally made the newspaper, because I didn't hear anything about this, but apparently JW leader, and like I said, they don't mention that he's an elder or what, but I'm going to read this article and I'm going to put the link down below. Pocatello man sentenced to 30 years in prison for sexually abusing 14-year-old girl. What is it about 14-year-olds? I don't get it. All right. Pocatello, now this is Idaho, here in the United States. A 34-year-old local man whose felony sex crime case was quietly adjudicated because of a 2020 judicial order to seal was sentenced to 30 years in state prison on Wednesday. Now, for those of you, who don't understand, that was quietly. All of this has been kept quiet because of a 2020 judicial order to seal. But he was sentenced to 30 years in state prison on Wednesday, this past Wednesday, which would have been the 16th. David Savalos of Pocatello was charged in May 2020 with felony first-degree kidnapping and felony lewd conduct with a child under 16 after police say he snuck a then 14-year-old girl out of her bedroom window and was caught with her while in the back seat of his fogged-up car that was parked in a dark construction site with the headlights off. Oh, good Lord. And the thing is you got to partially blame Watchtower and the JWs themselves, because weren't we always told to listen to the elders, that the life-saving message would come through the elders, obey the elders? That article from, 2015 or whatever, to obey no matter what, whether it sounds logical from a human standpoint or not. So do you see how they implant this in the mind of even teenagers, to where it's like, okay, well, he's, a leader in the congregation, so I have to listen to him. Do you see the danger this causes? Watchtower, too little, too late, to tell parents to educate their children. Too late. Chubbuck police were dispatched to the area of Angela Street shortly after midnight on May 10, 2020, when a neighbor called to report seeing a vehicle back into a nearby construction site and turn off the headlights. Yeah, that's suspicious behavior. Upon arrival at the scene, the officer observed a man, later identified as Savalos, crawling from the back seat to the front seat of the car while pulling up his pants, said police, adding that all of the vehicle's windows were foggy. Oh, that's not suspicious. Talk about caught with your pants down. Oh, horrible. Horrible. The 14-year-old girl was located in the back seat of the car and was observed wearing a swimsuit bottom before grabbing a pair of panties from the rear floorboard, police said. Initially, Savalos identified himself as being 30 years old, though he was actually 32 at the time of the incident, police said. Savalos exited the vehicle not wearing any shoes, but consistently denied ever engaging in any sexual acts with the child, police said. Savalos admitted to kissing and hugging the girl while they were both lying down in the backseat of the vehicle, police added. Savalos was detained in the police car while officers continued to investigate the incident, which included interviewing the teenage girl, according to police reports. The girl informed police that Savalos had been a family friend for the past 2 years, having met her while serving as one of her religious leaders with a local Jehovah's Witness church. police said. So he was a leader, probably an elder. The girl subsequently released to her parents and then taken to Pocatello Medical Center for a sexual assault examination, according to police reports. Her phone was also provided to police for a forensic analysis. Police then searched the car, locating Savalos' shirt, shoes, and underwear in the back seat. Police said, "Oh, but nothing improper was going on." Savalos' wife responded to the scene to take custody of the vehicle and was informed there was enough evidence to charge Savalos with felony lewd conduct with a child. Police responded to PMC later on May 10, 2020 to obtain the results of the sexual assault examination, during which a nurse informed them of statements the girl made while she was admitted. Police said the girl informed the nurse that Savalos performed sex acts on her both earlier that evening and several times over the course of 5 days prior to the May 10th incident. Oh, but there was nothing going on. It's nobody's business what he does with his private parts. I digress. The girl would later participate in a forensic interview at a local child advocacy center, according to court records, though the information of that interview was not included in the police report. Now, thank God a neighbor saw the suspicious car at a construction site and called the police, because if this was just handled in-house, I doubt any of this would have gotten out, and I doubt he would have been caught. And I know they wouldn't have reported it to the police. So thank God a neighbor seen that and called. Savalos was then arrested and booked into the Bannock County Jail in Pocatello. In addition to the felony lewd conduct charge, Savalos was charged with felony first-degree kidnapping. He was arraigned on May 11, 2020, during which his bond was set at $100,000. Savalos posted the bond 2 days later and released from jail. Also on May 11th, the former Bannock County deputy prosecutor filed a motion to seal the case, which was granted that same day. Savalos' name was not included on any police arrest reports. Interesting. I wonder how much he was paid by Watchtower or coerced by local elders. Just asking. Savalos pleaded guilty to the felony lewd conduct charge in November 2021 as part of a plea agreement with Bannock County prosecutors that involved the dismissal of the felony kidnapping charge. The plea agreement left the sentencing recommendations open. The Idaho State Journal learned of Savalos' sentencing hearing on Wednesday, this past Wednesday, and was present when the verdict was read. The Journal also petitioned the court to unseal the case on Wednesday, and the 6th District Judge Rick Carnarelli granted the request the same day. The police reports about the initial incident were obtained by the Journal on Thursday. During the sentencing hearing, Savalos appeared in court wearing a formal suit and glasses and sat next to his Pocatello attorney, Stratton Lagas. Lagas called both Savalos' wife and his therapist to provide the court with impact statements. His wife testified that since the incident occurred and Savalos has been participating in therapy designed for sexual offenders, she has seen a tremendous growth in him, and one that I couldn't see 5 years ago. Wives. Sometimes I just don't understand some of them. Savalos' therapist testified that he appeared very sad, broken, and full of remorse when she first began treating him. She described him as being one of her most hard-working clients since treatment began in 2020. Well, he's going to get a long time to evaluate things in his life. Before requesting Savalos be placed on an unspecified length of felony probation with additional treatment mechanisms for sexual offenders, and describing this occurrence as mistake and isolated incident, Lagas explained to the judge that Savalos will soon become a father. Oh God, another one having kids. A child who grows up without a parent figure, especially a father figure, you become a product of your environment at some point. Yeah, and then that kid goes on the internet and learns what their father has done and admitted to. Has long-lasting and potentially permanent downstream effects for his family, his child, and for society as a whole. Totally agree. Bannock County Senior Deputy Prosecutor Erin Tognetti handled the case for the state. She had two people provide victim impact statements, the teenage victim and her father. The victim explained that at first she saw Savalos as a big brother until he began getting touchy and seductive with her. She provided the court with a timeline of events that indicated Savalos groomed her for over a year, buying her gifts and texting her to find out when her parents weren't home so he could deliver them. Eventually, the grooming behavior turned into sexual abuse when Savalos showed the girl how to sneak out of her window and convinced her to leave her parents' home while they were asleep, the teenager said. Oh. And the article goes on to, give more details and all of this, but anyway, he just was sentenced and he got 30 years in prison. Good place for him. Another one that I hope he becomes Bubba's girlfriend. And if the wife stays with him, then, either she's an idiot or, something else going on. And you can't feel sorry for her after this, comes out. You can't. You can't. They want to stay in this position. But anyway, he was hauled off to the Idaho Department of Correction facility. So I will put the link down below to that. Now also I want to mention, thank you everyone so much for your great comments and emails and phone calls about the video I had done a few days ago about the little boy saying prayer for the opening midweek meeting. And Atlantis, you're the best, Gramps. I have a KM here. This is the June 2000 KM. It's Our Kingdom Ministry. And I'm going to go over to page 3, the question box. Oh yeah, it's a good one. Who should offer prayer at congregation meetings? Now I know, this is old light. This is old light. But it should still apply. Especially since I haven't seen an update that any baptized brother can give a prayer no matter what their age. I haven't seen anything like that. It's also right up there with several years ago us finding out that sisters were handling microphones in congregations that didn't have enough brothers. Alright, who should offer prayer at congregational meetings? Congregational prayer is a vital part of our worship. Representing others before Jehovah is a precious privilege and a weighty responsibility. In view of its importance, elders need to use good judgment when deciding which brothers qualify to offer prayer at meetings. Baptized brothers representing the congregation should be mature Christian ministers who are known as good examples and have the respect of the congregation. So how in the world can a 9-year-old possibly be a mature Christian minister that can be a good example representing the congregation? I mean, is this congregation so desperate that they don't have any brothers that are older that have good qualifications and good examples? What's going on in their congregation that they don't have good examples of mature Christian brothers? That they have to use a 9-year-old? You gotta ask. Okay, now I'm going to skip over here to the middle column. Yeah, like, the elders would not have a brother offer prayer if he is known for questionable or frivolous conduct. A 9-year-old doesn't have frivolous conduct? I digress. What kind of video games is he playing? Even though a teenage brother may be baptized, the elders will have to determine whether he has the spiritual stature to pray on behalf of the congregation. This mentions even a teenage brother. The elders will have to determine. So what is wrong up here with the elders in that congregation? A 9-year-old? Then it talks about, occasionally a sister may have to, take the lead and offer prayer and all of that. Okay, the last column. In any event, the brother who is to be called on to pray at a congregation meeting should be informed beforehand so that he can give thought to what he will say. Then he can offer a coherent, earnest prayer that is appropriate for that particular meeting. Just write it out in a script like the kid did. So thank you everybody for watching and hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.